Kathy, you need to buy the ingredients, cook dinner for 30 people, and clean the house. Once you're done, you can rest. If my husband needs anything, make sure you help him." My mother-in-law spoke to me with such authority, but I knew I didn't have to take it anymore. "That's impossible, I can't do everything on my own," I protested. "Don't tell me you can't, just get on with it," she snapped, her tone sharp and commanding. "No, I won't, I'm not going to be treated this way," I replied, my voice steady and firm. Her eyes widened in shock, and her face flushed with anger. "How dare you talk back to me? Just do as I say," she yelled, her rage evident. I remained calm. "Fine, I'll stop being a wife, then." She blinked in disbelief. What do you mean?" "My name is Kathy, I'm 28 years old, and I've been a full-time housewife since I married Elliot 2 years ago. We were happy together at first, but lately, things have changed." My mother-in-law, who was once so kind to me, suddenly turned cold and demanding. It felt like overnight, she became a completely different person. I remember when I first visited my in-laws, she'd greet me with, "Welcome, Kathy, take a rest," but now, she would say, "You're late, get to work." And it wasn't just that. Before, she'd encouraged me to wait for a baby, but now she asked, "When are you having kids? Isn't there something wrong with you?" Her attitude was confusing, and it felt like she was using me more and more. She would call me and say things like, "Kathy, I need you here now," but I'd just seen Elliot off to work. When I tried to explain, she would retort, "It's a wife's duty to send her husband off without stress, and once you've done that, your duty is to work for me." I would mutter under my breath, frustrated and exhausted, but it didn't matter. "If you understand that, then get here as soon as you can," she would insist, before hanging up. Every morning, she would call like this. If I didn't answer, she'd keep calling until I gave in. I couldn't ignore her. Her constant pressure drove me to go over there, where I would spend hours doing whatever she demanded, like a slave. It didn't end there. She even pressured me into going over on weekends. Her invitations would seem harmless, like, "Come visit us this weekend," but there was always an unspoken expectation that I would clean, cook, and take care of everything. My husband had no idea, as she never spoke to me this way in front of him. He worked long hours, and his father was often away on business trips, so I was left alone with her. My in-laws' family consists of my mother-in-law and father-in-law, along with their 3 sons. Elliot is the second son, and his brothers are married. My older brother-in-law and his wife had lived with my in-laws, but they moved out when they were relocated for work, and yet, my mother-in-law is always so kind to my younger brother-in-law's wife. When they visit, she showers her with the same affection and consideration she used to show me before everything changed. What happened? What did I do wrong? Why the sudden shift in her behavior? And what's the difference between me and my younger sister-in-law? I couldn't take it anymore. I had to talk to Elliot. "Hey, your mother has been really difficult with me lately," I said to Elliot, hoping he might finally understand. But his response was cold and dismissive. "What, you've got an issue with her? Oh, come on, I don't want any drama," he replied, brushing me off. I tried to press on. "You know, this is happening because you're expecting too much from her. You and my mom are practically strangers, so you can't expect anything from her," he added, as if offering some kind of wisdom. His words felt off. It wasn't about expectations, it was about respect. But he wasn't even trying to understand. Instead, he seemed more concerned about avoiding conflict. I felt a sinking disappointment. If he couldn't see it, there was no point in hoping for any support from him. It dawned on me that he, too, had become like a stranger. Then New Year's came around. As usual, my in-laws planned a big family gathering, and my mother-in-law was relentless in trying to get me to attend. "You should come, it's New Year's, family is important," she would nag, but I kept declining, citing my own family obligations during the holiday. Until then, I had always tried to please her, but suddenly, I couldn't bring myself to do it anymore, and she wasn't pleased. On the day of the gathering, it was clear my mother-in-law had something lined up for me, something that felt like punishment. This would be my 3rd time attending the event at their house. The first time, shortly after I married Elliot, I helped my older brother-in-law's wife. The second year, I was stuck cleaning and shopping, but this year, my mother-in-law decided I should do it all. "I need you to get the ingredients for dinner for 30 people, cook, and clean the house. Once you're done, you can rest, and if my husband needs anything, you help him," she instructed me, a smug pride in her voice. It was the same tone she always used, but this time, I didn't have to listen anymore. "That's impossible, I can't do it all by myself," I protested, my frustration building. "Don't tell me you can't, just get it done," she snapped. "No, I won't, I'm not going to be treated this way," I said firmly, standing my ground. Her eyes widened with fury. "How dare you talk back to me? Do as I say." Her face flushed with anger as she continued to shout at me. I didn't flinch. "Fine, I'll stop being a wife then." Her expression froze, and she gaped at me in disbelief. "What are you talking about?" "I'm going to divorce Elliot and quit being his wife," I said, my voice steady, despite the storm brewing inside me. You think you can just do something so selfish? She spat, her voice dripping with contempt. I won't allow it, my mother-in-law shouted, her face red with anger. I don't need your permission, I shot back, standing firm. Divorce is between husband and wife. Stop being such a smartass, she yelled, her frustration growing. You really piss me off. I couldn't help but smirk. Funny, because every single word you say annoys me too. What the hell, she barked, glaring at me. Just then, my younger brother-in-law's wife, who was standing next to me, piped up. If you're quitting, Kathy, I'll quit being a wife too. My mother-in-law spun around, shocked by the unexpected support. Huh? Oh, so you're quitting too? If this keeps up, I'll be the next one to be bullied, right? She added quickly. I've got to get out of here before it's too late. I smiled inwardly, thinking, that's my sister-in-law, she's got a sharp mind. What nonsense are you two talking? I won't let you get away with this, my mother-in-law screamed, her face twisted in frustration. As the shouting escalated, more family members began to gather. My father-in-law and brothers-in-law, Elliot included, had been at the house since early morning helping to prepare for the gathering. They came over to see what the commotion was about. What's going on here? My father-in-law asked, his voice calm but curious. Your wife has been picking on me, and I'm done with it, I said, my tone steady. So, I'm quitting being a wife today, and I'm leaving before she bullies me anymore. My father-in-law frowned, turning his gaze to my mother-in-law. What did you say? His voice was low, clearly upset. You broke your promise. No, my mother-in-law mumbled, looking guilty. What promise? I asked, completely confused. My father-in-law sighed, speaking to the whole family. She promised me she wouldn't bully her daughters-in-law again, but here we are. Dad, Elliot interjected, still trying to understand what was happening. I'm sorry, Kathy, my father-in-law said, his voice sincere. The real reason my eldest son and his wife moved away wasn't because of a job transfer, it was because your mother-in-law was mentally tormenting her, she was bullying her. I felt a wave of realization hit me. I see, that's why they haven't been here today, and why they haven't come to any family events in the past, my father-in-law continued. When my eldest son found out his wife was being mistreated, he got furious and left with her. I had a serious talk with your mother-in-law. She promised me she'd never treat her daughters-in-law this way again. She begged me to keep it quiet. Really? I asked, surprised by the revelation. I'm sorry I didn't tell you earlier, he said softly. I honestly didn't think she'd do it again. No, it's not your fault, father, I reassured him. Kathy, he said, his voice firm, you should go home today with Elliot. I'll make sure your mother-in-law handles all the preparations for this gathering herself. My mother-in-law's eyes widened in panic. Oh no, that's impossible, she cried, horrified at the prospect. Okay, my father-in-law said, his tone unwavering. So you tried to force Kathy to do something she couldn't possibly do, didn't you? My mother-in-law opened her mouth to protest, but he didn't let her speak. If you had treated your daughters-in-law with kindness, none of this would have happened, he said, pointing a finger at her. This is all your fault. Turning to me, he added, I'm leaving the decision up to you now, Kathy, you can decide what happens next. Thank you, I said, feeling a weight lift off my shoulders. At least now, someone understood. After a long silence, Elliot finally spoke up, his voice shaking. Kathy, please don't tell me you're really going to divorce me. I can't do this anymore, Elliot, I said, my voice steady but firm. You completely ignored me when I asked for help with your mother. Well, he stammered, we can just cut ties with her, right? So we can still stay married? He pleaded, grasping at any possible solution. I shook my head, my disappointment clear. I've already lost faith in you. If something happens in the future, I know you won't consider me, you'll just act based on your own needs. I can't stay married to someone like that. I want a divorce. His face fell, and he muttered a quiet, oh no, as the reality of the situation sank in. Without another word, I packed my things and went to my parents' house. Elliot remained silent, and I left without looking back. Meanwhile, my younger brother-in-law, who was completely devoted to his wife, told her he'd rather leave his parents' house than face being abandoned by her. They both left, too. As for my mother-in-law, she had no choice but to prepare for the family gathering alone. I could almost feel her frustration as she struggled to cook enough food for everyone. Later, I learned that my father-in-law had confronted her that same day with divorce papers. He had meant it. If she broke her promise to him, he would follow through. It was clever, really. He made sure she did all the work for the gathering, knowing full well he was ready to divorce her. Now that my mother-in-law was gone, my older brother-in-law and his wife could return to the house without any worries. They'd just had a baby, and my father-in-law was thrilled to have his grandchild around. As for me, I managed to get the divorce. Elliot hesitated, dragging his feet right until the last moment, but as soon as I mentioned bringing in a lawyer, he signed the papers without another word. It wasn't lost on me that he was the only one of the three brothers who had never prioritized his wife's needs. His neglect had ultimately torn him away from his family, leaving him isolated. both of his brothers, who respected their wives' opinions, distanced themselves from him. His brothers' wives even said they didn't trust him and no longer wanted to be around him. Now, Elliot feels uncomfortable going back to his parents' house. It's exactly what he deserves. As for me, I've started a new chapter, I landed a new job that I love, and I'm thriving in my career. Living alone is empowering, comfortable and fulfilling in a way I never imagined. I've also recently started seeing a younger guy, and I'm enjoying life to the fullest, balancing work, love, and independence. I finally feel like I'm living for myself.